Hello and welcome to the Rise of Virtual Cheese Awards 2025, where we're going to be showcasing the very best of British cheeses. I'm Danielle Tingey. I'm going to be moderating this session where we are looking at Cheshire cheeses. I'm joined by two very esteemed judges, Stephen and Charlie. Introduce yourselves.
Oh, hi. I'm Stephen Fleming. I'm the owner and founder of George and Joseph Cheesemongers in Leeds. Been in the cheese world for about 15 years or so.
I'm Charlie Turnbull. I ran my own cheese shop for 15 years in Dorset, but I am a founding director of the Academy of Cheese, and I am a good cheese trainer. So if you need to know more, I am your man.
Very good.
Mind
Okay,
you,
so
so Stephen, where are you, Stephen? Are you down that way or he's that way, is he?
Stephen's this way, you're this way.
Okay.
You're like an air hostess now. Um, right, so we're going to be using a points-based system out of 10, looking at appearance, aroma, texture, and flavour. Funnily enough, the winning cheese is going to be the one that scores the highest points across all of those categories. And the winner of this category will go across to the best of category stage, which takes place on the 10th of June. So, no further ado, let's kick off. We are looking for cheese number 1007, please.
I've already had a little bit of a nibble,
That's
so there's a little bit missing in between.
a little bit.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Straight in.
So, what are we thinking about appearance?
Well, Cheshires are crumbly, so we're expecting to see sort of holes and cracks and things like that.
Mhm.
And we don't want to see any blue. We want to see an sort of an even color across the piece. And this one does all those things. Stephen, would you agree?
Yeah, it certainly ticks all those boxes. When I unwrapped it, I was like, yeah, this is definitely that crumbly sort of style I would expect.
Hmm.
Nice distribution of holes through there, little pot marks as you'd expect to. Looks really good. Yeah, no red flags at all.
None at all. I mean, it's got no. I mean, it's got that indentation of the cloth, which we can see on the rind. I don't know if you can
Yeah,
see that. Whatever.
Hmm.
Which shows it's cloth bound, and it's got a slight curve to the rind. So this was a truckle once rather than a block. And there's no indication of age here. It feels young. It's got a sort of a wetness to it, a freshness to it, a milkiness to it, and there's no rind, there's no yeast, there's nothing. So we're looking at something sort of youngish.
yeah, I would agree. Again, though, pretty much what we were expecting.
Hmm.
Okay.
Uh,
Uh, Then on to aroma.
do we
What's
need
the
to
opinion?
score that, or are we going to come back and make
We'll come
numbers
back
up at
to
the end?
that.
Okay, cool. Aroma, what do you think?
Again, it's fresh, isn't it? You got
Mm.
that.
It smells the dairy.
Yeah, milky dairy.
Yeah, that sort of, that sort of slightly plasticky blue cloth that they wrap these cheeses in
Mm.
when they're, it's got that kind of smell. Not the blue cloth, but that recently used dairy. No. Mm. I like the smell. I like the smell. It's the freshness suggests there's moisture there, which is often underrepresented when people talk about smell. It smells wet, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Yeah, you're right, and I think that's key because sometimes you'll get a cheese like this, and it can be really quite dry.
Hmm.
So I'm keen because I'm excited because obviously you can see there's a bit of moisture on the cheese, and that's coming through in the aroma, and I'm sure that's going to come through in the texture and flavour as well.
Yeah, it does set the expectations. This is a
Yeah.
cheese that changes quite rapidly over 3 months. So, getting that smell makes you feel that this is at the younger end of the spectrum.
Mm.
Okay. What about the texture?
Well, let's open it up.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I'm gonna get
lovely.
my dog in here in a minute. Uh,
This is where I need smell-o-vision, but equally some
mhm.
empathy.
This year, I have actually remembered to get myself some kitchen roll, which
Oh,
is
very good.
improvement on last year.
Yeah, it gets messy quite quickly, doesn't
It
it?
does, particularly with these crumblies.
Yeah,
I think this is doing exactly as expected. I mean, for a young cheese, it's got no sort of plasticity. You you're crumbling it, and it does fully crumble goes towards dust rather than towards
yeah,
paste.
it just falls apart, doesn't it?
Yeah, which I'm neutral about, as in it's not an indication of quality to me, but it makes me slightly nervous that we're going to have a drier outcome than something more moist, which sometimes is preferred by the market.
Okay. And what about the flavor?
I think this is tricky. Stephen?
Hmm. There's a tiny bit of sharpness there.
Yeah. But we'd want that. This is a sheet. This is a
Yeah, which
cheese
is
that
what you'd
should have,
expect.
I mean, it's a
Okay.
high acid cheese, so
Yeah.
we want some sharpness.
But
Hmm.
So as I understand it, high acid cheeses risk, I'm going to get the word wrong, but something about lysis or whatever. It breaks open some of the casein cells and releases a bitter peptides. Um, and I think this has happened to this cheese. Now, this is sort of supposed to happen. It's a feature of Cheshire that we can get this early bitterness. And I'm relatively bitter sensitive in this area, so I'm getting an honest and appropriate bitterness at a low level, which sits there as a competitor in my mouth with the dairy flavors, which we're out looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, bitterness is a wide variety of experience. So, Stephen, what do you think?
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of it's there at a low level.
Hmm.
It's not it's not smashing out all of the dairy flavors.
I was going to
Um,
No,
say, when you were talking about aroma earlier, you were talking about the freshness, the dairy, sort of the milky smells coming through.
mm.
But is that coming through in taste as well?
It is. It
Okay.
is. It's real milk, right? It's in again. It's an element of its youngness. As a cheese matures, you expect it to move more savory away from the acidity, and it hasn't done this. We're still in that young. I know I'm wobbling my table. It's still that young phrase. I'm finding the bitterness quite herbal, as in this sort of hoppy, which so
hmm.
it's in the spectrum of a natural experience. It doesn't feel chemically or quinine. So it's really still within that herbaceous bitterness, sort of
Yeah, yeah,
resiny.
yeah. I'd agree with that. I'm getting almost some slight sort of cereally notes to it as well, which again is a nice sort of a nice thing to get.
And I think there's bits of cream as well as milk, isn't there? There's that.
There is, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, which is really nice. I think it's almost the sort of, I mean, obviously the combination is best, but I like that creamy. It's sort of compensating a bit for the bitterness. I I think this is a challenge for Cheshire as a class, is that bitterness is sometimes there, and I
hmm.
think that's why it doesn't mix well with some other cheeses sometimes. Because on its own it sort of makes sense, but against another cheese, particularly a modern cheese that's much more sweet oriented, it can come across as a bit of an outlier, a bit of an old school cheese.
Hmm. I'm a fan. I was kind of fed a lot of Cheshire when I was a kid,
Hmm.
so that acidity is something that's a very familiar sort of flavour to me, and yeah, sort of brings back lots of childhood memories for me. So it's nice to sort of have that. I agree with you that it doesn't necessarily sit so well against other cheeses, but it'd be interesting to see how we do with compare it with these other Cheshires that we've got to see how that acidity compares.
I
Okay.
I want to say I don't think there's a single fault with this cheese. I think it is beautifully made.
Mm.
I mean,
Um,
hang on a second. This is the first one we're tasting. This
yeah,
is putting the bar so high.
well, I don't know what you think, Stephen. I think it is clear, it's young, so it's not that complex. As you say,
Yeah,
there's a little bit of biscuit, there's maybe a little bit of hop.
yeah,
But so it's a very low in complexity, but that is in its nature.
yeah. That's the style
Um,
of cheese, isn't it? So
yeah,
yeah,
and so it's a young Cheshire, so it's going to have high acidity, potential for bitterness, with low complexity, but strong milk and cream flavors, and it's hitting that so
it ticks all
beautifully.
those boxes. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, it
really good
is.
example. Yeah.
Um,
Fab.
so
Okay.
so
So
there's
if we're
well,
going
this
back
is it. This,
to
this is where Stephen and I are using our years of experience and all our grey hairs all at once. Do we go? This is a perfect Cheshire, but is it going to please lots of people? That isn't the same question.
Yeah, it's two different things, isn't it? There's the looking at it from a technical point of view, and then also just from a crowd pleasing
Yeah,
mass appeal point, isn't it? I suppose really.
I agree. I agree. Um, so I don't know. Right. So we got to. What sort of
gotta
pace
go
are we on here, Danielle?
back to the
Do we
start
get
then.
on
So
or?
looking at appearance, what are you
Mhm.
going to give it out of 10 for appearance?
I mean, you could theoretically, if you want to be pedantic, say the holes aren't exactly evenly spaced, but I
Mm,
think that's a bit nerdy, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Um, so I think we can give it at least a 9, wouldn't you
yeah,
say?
I would say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Okay.
for aroma,
I think it comes across as super clean, and it's got the dairy milks dairy notes we're expecting. So
yeah, it's nice and inviting. There's nothing there's nothing to take away really.
Yeah. Do we have to give it 10 then? We
I think so.
never really like giving full marks.
9.5. Can we do half points, Daniel?
You can, I had a 0.75 yesterday, so you can, yeah.
Okay, right. All
We'll
bets
have to
are off
compete with that. I'm going with your 9.5 there, Stephen.
Yeah.
Why don't
Yeah.
you go on texture? What do you think?
So yeah, I think the texture is good. It's as I'd expect for this style of cheese. Like I say, it crumbles away. Again, I can't see any improvement that could be made to that texture for this cheese, really. So we're up in the high nines again, I would say.
I would come down fractionally to the low nines, although we are obviously splitting hairs here. Because I think it does come across as a bit dry, crumbly, and goes towards a sort of granular nature. But I'm still agreeing with you that it's north of 9. Will you go with 9.25?
Let's go 9.25.
And flavour. This is a hard one.
I wonder whether we might need to revisit these after we've tasted.
I mean, I was going to say, let's get through the 4, and then if you want to come back and have a look at the scores once you've had a chance to visit all of them, then that's fine.
Right. Am I clearing up then?
So what about flavour though? Are you going to give it?
Oh, you're saying we're not?
now?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give it an 8. That's my view. Stephen, you?
Yeah, I was feeling sort of 8.5, something like that. I like that balance of the acidity and those flavours coming through. Maybe there could be a bit more of those, a bit more of the dairy flavours possibly. So,
okay, all right. Are you all right with 8? I mean, we're set. You know, as Danielle says, we're going in with a very punchy. What is that? 4 nines are 36, a 35.75. Is that right?
The flavour score is out of 10, but weighted by 50%. So my very clever spreadsheet adds it all up for me. So out of a possible 45, this cheese, number 1 cheese, scores 39.75. But you know what? If it's good cheese, it doesn't matter where you've tasted it. If a good cheese has earned that score, then that's we've got to get joined in.
Really, really nicely made.
Hello, good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Good,
We're all good.
We've only done one.
Too much talking then.
We were just getting ourselves positioned. We had a little introductions. We had a bit of a catch up.
And how's the cheese? What was it like?
We've only had one so far.
Okay.
But it was a very good one.
Good.
But we've given it really strong marks. But it's that classic case of it's an idealized version of the cheese, but is it going to tick every consumer's box kind of thing?
Okay.
So it was a brilliant cheese. It was a brilliant cheese.
Okay. So now we're looking at cheese number 1008.
So Stephen, mine's got a slight orange colour to it. It's a little bit annattoed up.
Yeah. Yeah, just slightly, but yeah, it's not overboard, is it?
No, and it's also got now evidence of rind. So we've got a little bit of mold and yeast on the rind there.
Great, same here.
You can see that. So also cloth wrapped, and also you can see it's a truckle shape by the concave nature of its edge. So this is another classic Cheshire style. We've got a little bit of colouring from annatto. What are we doing first? Appearance. It's got the same. I mean, it feels like it's like a sister cheese to the first one.
Yeah, there are fewer holes and breakages in it compared to the other one. But yeah, it's good.
And what about on the nose? What are you smelling?
So this one has definitely moved towards the cellar.
Yeah, I'm getting earthy leaves. Yeah. Away from the rind, those kind of like dairy notes are back in there.
Are you getting? I'm getting something. God, it's smelling of something really nice. I can't put my finger on. It's definitely got less moisture in the nose, less dairy, but more of something else. Maybe it'll come out in the flavour. I'm
getting more butter aroma.
Yeah, it is. It is
butter,
actually.
Yeah, It's like I've had like a toast with butter melted on. I'm getting that kind of
Yeah,
like
hot butter.
Stop
Exactly
it.
right. Hot butter.
Making me hungry.
Sarah, whilst
But
you're
it-
here, can we
it-
discuss this, please? Can we just have a little samples for the moderators?
Yes, I think
Because this
so.
is
Just like
torture.
Um,
Cheese
no,
that tastes like buttery hot toast. Come on.
it's yeah. I know this can sound. I think it's cold hot butter. Does that make any sort of sense?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
even better. You know, a real
Yeah.
pink of
Yeah.
butter on hot. Oh.
That's really interesting. I mean, you can clearly see that this one compared to the last one has come on a month, possibly 2 months,
Yeah.
maybe more. It's really seen some metabolism. We're moving away from those early milk flavors into the savory notes and the butter notes, which is, well, it's exciting. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Creamy. What was that last phrase you used there? Creamy yet earthy. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Who
you've
said
got this
that?
lovely sort of there's sort of on the rind, that sort of you're getting into like a sort of a cellar, those kind of slightly damp, slightly moldy flavors, aromas there as well, which are really lovely.
And what's the texture doing?
Well, this one is
Ooh.
much more pasty,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is, I mean, it's still very crumbly. Like, it's definitely the
Crumbly,
crumble
but nowhere near like the last one.
Nothing like the last one, no. But I mean, it's one of those things that doesn't matter. I mean, it matters a bit. It's often, you go searching for faults in here, but, if it was a little more crumbly or a little less crumbly, would we take points off or add them on? I don't know that I would.
And that's personal preference, isn't it, as well?
But we've definitely got the breakdown of the curd happening here, which is delivering these changes.
Yeah, it's much smoother. The mouthfeel is much smoother than the previous one.
So before we get into flavour, there are no faults that I can see in the first three categories. This is there are no errors in the cheese making process.
Okay.
Stephen, you want to kick off on the taste or flavour?
Yeah, so there's that little bit of bitterness in there, but it's kind of more mellowed. It's definitely toned right down. And the savoury notes are higher.
I think there's a bit more sweetness as well.
Yeah, the sweetness, that buttery aroma is kind of following through on the flavour as well.
I think as a holistic flavour, it's marginally more muted than the last one. I mean, it's because it hasn't got that engine of sourness with that sort of herbaceous herbal bitterness. It's not so pushy, but it's got a much more acceptable or popular cheddar moment. Not a full cheddar, but a sort of cheddar influence.
Okay.
What about complexity? You getting much other flavors beyond the dairy?
Not a great deal, no. But still,
me neither.
and again, that's sort of it's typical for the style, isn't it? It's not a complex cheese.
Okay, so if we're thinking about scores, going back to the beginning then, appearance out of 10, what would you give it?
I'm trying to see what I could take away from the points of the appearance. There's nothing really I could take off that.
I think it's a better looker than the last one.
Yeah, I'm more of a sucker for that kind of slightly aged rind. It looks more like a cheese to me. Yeah, and the slight Leonardo giving that a little bit of sort of that orange colour into it. It seems to be an interesting thing about coloured Cheshire and white Cheshire selling in different parts of the country. If we put orange Cheshire on the counter, it doesn't sell up here.
Really?
But if we put white Cheshire on, we sell loads of it. It's strange.
Do you think it tastes different?
I don't know whether it's just power of suggestion. That's a really good question.
But still to make us bang on about the fact that Shropshire Blue and Stilton are the same cheese, but with an arto, and they don't taste different. I think they taste different. I really do.
It could be my palate is just maybe not that finely tuned, but
you're a legend, Stephen. Don't back off the detail.
It's the kind of same with like cheddar, though, isn't it? I mean, the kind of Scottish don't eat white cheddar.
No.
And I've panelled white cheddar and red cheddar for years, and there is always a slight difference. Always.
I think there's a difference.
There is some kind of reaction with the annatto, I'm pretty sure. In the making process.
I fully agree. I'm really I think all these people that say there's no difference. They're being foolish pedants, and we're
I
right.
agree. But obviously, you do eat with your eyes as well,
I was
and
going to say
maybe that is
visually.
like part of it.
Yeah.
So you know, you're looking at a red cheese, but I do think there is some kind of chemical change that affects flavour.
Well, you're putting something in. You're adding another ingredient into the recipe, aren't you? So
Got to change. It's
there's
got
going
to
to be a change at some point, isn't there? There's going to be.
All right, Sarah. I think this is an opportunity for the Virtual Cheese Awards. Proper blind tasting, masks on, you know, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did a tasting like that a few years ago in the shop, and people came, they loved it, but there was a moment where everyone was like, "You actually are expecting us to put blindfolds on, aren't you?" I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
But
I
they went
think
with
it's
it.
sliced,
It
right?
was good.
It does take it to another level, to be honest, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anything that you taste with where you can't see it, it takes it to a whole other level.
Well, there are lots of examples of experienced people getting red and white wine the wrong way around.
No.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Google it. Well, do we AI it nowadays? I'm never quite sure.
There are lots of experiments where if you taste different products in different light, so if you're in a room with red light or blue light, products taste differently as well.
Yeah, if you do sensory analysis through the taste panels, you have to be in a neutral zone. All the plates have to be the same color. You have to screen for pre-existing aromas and the whole thing. So there is a lot of science around this. But I don't think that takes away from the fact that annatto actually does taste different.
Yeah, let's agree on that.
Okay.
Okay, so back to 100A.
Yeah.
And the appearance score, please. The last cheese, just to recap, you gave that a strong 9. So
I think we have to go up a bit.
Have to go up, yeah. We're up
A quarter?
Yeah, up 9 1/4.
0.33.
hang on a minute, that's not a quarter. Even my maths knows that's not a quarter.
We can push to 9 1/2.
I'm just upping it a bit more. Okay, 9 1/4.
And
Aroma.
Love it. I love that. Yeah. Sorry, Danielle. That cold melted butter is just... I'll send you the leftovers round after this.
Yes, I was going to say, I'll come and collect.
9.6.
Yeah.
Texture. 9 1/4 was our benchmark on the previous one.
Yeah,
9 1/2.
I think we're up to 9 1/2 on that. Yeah, the texture is good.
And flavour.
I like this more than the previous one, so I think we've got to come up a little bit on the score and the flavour as well.
I'm going down.
Going down.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And the reason I'm going down is because I think that the character is less, even though the flavours are more interesting. Whereas the first one I thought had real, I know who I am about it. Does that make sense? But, you know, so we gave it 8.
You think this is maybe trying to pretend it wishes it has ambitions to be a cheddar?
I just like to turn up either the complexity or some of those dairy flavors a little bit to get it to really pay attention to it. Otherwise, I think it's just a little bit me too. And this is at a high level, right? So you know, we're talking about a really good score here.
Yeah. Happy to go with that.
And what is that?
So is that an 8?
Should we just go? You want to go up? I want to go down. So why don't we just go with 8 again?
Let's go with an 8. Yeah.
Okay. But that's still a very good score.
Absolutely.
That is a very good score. That's a very close score. Is it helpful if I tell you the overall scores at the end of each one? Or do you not want to know?
Stephen and I have a PhD in maths. We already have worked it out in our heads. Haven't we?
No, because we're just new friends. I can't work out whether you're joking or not.
Do we look like we've
don't believe anything he says apart from cheese scores, Daniel.
That is a very good cheese. That is a really good cheese.
Okay, so your first cheese scored 39.75. This cheese scored 40.35. So close.
So close.
Wow.
Have
Don't
you got a
forget-
palate cleanser, Stephen?
Yeah. If your cheeses are very close at the end, you are able to put more than 1 through if they're so good that you want to make that point.
Oh, okay.
Because we are having so many fantastic cheeses. So we have put more than 1 through so far in many classes at the moment. So
I've been
everything gets a chance
about this. I've been like 1 cheese.
I've not brought myself a glass of water. Can we pause and?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Go cleanse your palate.
Okay.
I will be back soon. You might get on a bit faster without me.
That could be wishful thinking, Sarah, but never know.
Oh, this is going to be a fun session.
Yeah, absolutely is. Actually, I'm just going to reload. I even made sure I got a big jug.
Oh, well done. I'm going to try
Something
putting
running
my
down.
computer on something because I do feel it is wobbly.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was wobbly, and now I'm very self-conscious that it's wobbly. So have you got your new cheese, the next cheese already there prepared?
Yeah, I'm guessing we're on to 1009.
1009, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, good stuff.
Thank you for that.
No worries.
I don't know about you, Steve, but I'm finding this sticking in my teeth.
What, the new one? 1009 or the last one you tasted?
Last one, yeah.
Right, rock and roll. Thank you.
Okay, 1009 is the next cheese then.
Okay, so again, we've got, looking on the right there, it's obviously been a cloth bound cheese. Similar kind of texture pattern to the others. Those holes and pot marks in the paste.
Slightly more orange character to the yeasts and molds, or possibly bacteria. I don't know. But...
Yeah. This one, I feel it's maybe a touch younger than the previous one, but older than the
Yeah,
first.
I think you might be right. It's also got fewer holes and cracks across
Yeah.
the paste, or at least mine has. And it has a more elastic texture when cutting.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? It's not crumbling away as much as the other two have. Yeah. It's definitely got more give, hasn't it?
Mm.
What about the smell? What's that telling you?
Yeah, those kind of buttery notes again.
Ugh.
It's sort of halfway between the last two. It's
Yeah,
still
it's
got a lot
dialed
of the
down a
dairy
bit
in the
from
smell
that. Yeah.
and less of the cellar.
Yeah. There's not nearly as much of that on the rind, is there?
No.
So yeah, I think we're kind of in a world between those other two in terms of all these
It's
things.
still got, as you say, still got that hot cold butter
Yeah.
thing.
And the same with the texture as well. It's kind of got that bit more plasticity to it.
I think it's more plastic. I do not mean that negatively.
Yeah.
Than the last one.
What about the crumble?
It doesn't really have it. I mean
Oh, it's very pasty.
it does crumble a bit, but you sort of have to force it to crumble. It wants to stick together.
What do you think about the flavors, Charlie?
I definitely, talking about the power of suggestion, because it's got that much more elastic flavor, it feels much more, feels less Cheshire-y to me. So there is still a substantive acidity to it, more than, that's that lactic milk acidity. Whereas the Cheshire, but it does have important cheddar notes. And again, that buttery sweetness is more pronounced and most pronounced of the three, I think.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
would
also
agree.
got, to me, sort of hints of, and I don't mean eggy. I just mean that sort of. I don't mean eggy at all. I mean it's moving in the direction almost of a sort of tête de moi. Does that make
Mm.
sense? Do you know what I mean? That
Yeah,
Morbier kind of moment. Which is, but I don't know whether I'm having the power of suggestion because of that elasticity is in that direction. Whether I'm
yeah,
looking at.
I know what you mean. When you say that, that's what that makes me think more about the textures in there.
Hmm.
Um, just thinking about, we were talking about blindfolding before. If I were blindfolded, I wouldn't necessarily pick this out as a Cheshire from certainly not from the texture.
No, no, no. It's not that classic Cheshire style, is it?
No,
Um,
it's not a bad thing, but
no.
you know, judging this as a class of Cheshires.
Yeah. It's It's got. I mean, I suppose the first two have been so, really specifically typical of their type that if we'd have come to this one first, we might have been more forgiving. But it now feels a bit like um, it's a bit more hybridy in terms of reaching.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'd pick it out very quickly as a British territorial.
Mhm.
So it's in that sort of broader class, but that
Definitely. Yeah.
over elastic texture and um, I do think I'm getting something eggy. I do think I'm getting something, but I'm a little bit of scrambled egg in there. So I
Mm.
wish you could taste it, Danielle, because it
Yeah,
would
because
just,
that's
yeah.
confusing.
Even really good judges like me and Stephen are open to being suggested to. Um, uh, so what do you think, Stephen? Moving on to our
Just
AATFs, our
yeah,
appearance,
doors on
aroma,
the doors.
texture, flavor.
So the appearance, yeah,
It would look good on the counter, wouldn't it?
it would look out. Yeah, yeah, it's an attractive looking cheese. It's got that nice natural rind to it. So I think the I think we're down a bit from the previous one. Um,
9 1/8,
maybe we're just down at a 9,
a 9. Good, I'm
straight
happy with
9.
that.
Just a straight 9.
Yeah,
Yeah. The aroma,
Okay.
I'd like to go below 9 for the aroma.
yeah, yeah, I would too.
8.5.
Yeah, I think so.
Texture, I think we have to drop down to a 7.
I think we're into the world of sevens, aren't we? Really? Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
And flavor,
Again, I think we're coming down.
gone. It's not like they're watching. It's not like it's a publicly
Not like we're
videoed.
Yeah,
recording and anyone can look
No.
later.
And they're not going to come back and hate you because it's like they thought that you
no,
were
that's right.
their
Yeah,
friend.
I think we're in the sort of world of sevens as well for flavour.
Okay, 7. Cool.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, that's still a solid score of
It
35.
is. Yeah, no
Yeah.
question.
I think that just demonstrates how great the previous two cheeses were.
Yeah.
Okay, so your next cheese and the final one in this category is 1076.
Right.
Much darker rind there.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
And you're seeing a notable sort of inside the rind discoloration. I mean, not a discoloration, it's bad in any way. That's not I'm not negative at all, but you're seeing again the whole thing, it's coming from a truckle. I don't know about you, Steve. Mine's been vacuum packed, so I'm going to cut mine in half
Yeah. Same here.
because it's very difficult to get a sense of what the texture is when it's obviously been squeezed like it has.
Yeah.
So you're not a fan of the vacuum packed?
Nobody's a fan of vacuum pack. It's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
Right, so there's a bit, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see there's a little moisture in there?
Can
Which,
see that.
yeah, I like that. I'm keen on that. I don't know Cheshire so brilliantly to know if that should be a fault or not, but I need moisture in Cheshire. It's part of its character.
Mm.
But we're not seeing much in the way of cracks or holes. It's a much smoother.
Yeah, it's much smoother texture, isn't it?
Yeah. and it breaks, oh, it's much firmer.
It is firmer, isn't it?
Yeah.
And not as elastic.
No,
It's
not
more,
at all elastic.
that crumbliness is back, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of crumbling.
Yeah.
What are you smelling?
So the aroma's sharper.
So very much two aromas. There's the rind and the paste.
Yeah.
And the rind is the most pungent cellar
Wow.
note we've had so far.
I'm also getting kind of like it's the rind aroma is sort of reminiscent a bit of kind of like cigarette smoke.
Really?
Oh, I know what you mean. I wouldn't have used
Yeah.
that word, but it's got a real dustiness to it.
Yeah, that kind of, well, let's say tobacco then, shall we?
Mm.
I'm not, that's in a good
That
way.
sounds more appealing than ashtray, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it kind of reminds me of like if you got like, I think about my granddad's armchair when he sat in it, chain smoking for years and years, that kind of smell on the furniture rather than the actual smell in the air, I suppose.
Yesterday's smoke, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Passive.
And it's that kind of celery, old books.
Yeah.
You know,
all the stories that are coming to mind for me, I can't repeat on air. So, but you know, let's just say sometimes when I was much younger and used to wake up, there was sometimes the smell on the pillow. Do you know what what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue what you mean.
I'm not sure it's that, by the way. That just came to mind based on what Stephen was
So
saying.
is it quite a nostalgic smell?
Yeah.
Is it comforting nostalgic?
If you go into a cellar, like a cheese cellar, and you get this smell, it is everywhere. It's like everywhere you look, and it feels really all enclosing, and it's warm, and it just says gentle aging. It's a ripening process.
Mm.
When you have it on here like this, then it feels much more discreet, sort of a unique smell. It's not so sort of all encompassing. And that's when you get that sense of, oh, there's someone who's just had a cigarette, they've been outside kind of moment.
But then, as you said, there's a different aroma on the paste, isn't there?
Yeah. Not strong, no.
No.
I would say fresh cream rather than butter.
Yeah, it's not as buttery on the aroma. Agreed.
Okay, so then texture, firmer you said than the previous three.
Much firmer. Yeah. I mean, I have to, really.
Really?
No, I'm definitely going to need my dog in here now.
He's going to have a time of his life with all that.
Mm-hmm. Right. But it's interesting because you can see when it breaks, you can see that curd structure is really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there, no.
Yeah. Right, flavor. So we have that acidity. I think there's a grassiness to it. Do you getting that?
Yeah.
It's getting my tip of my tongue, and there is a sweetness. The milk sweetness is still present. You get the lactose is still there in one way or another. But the sharpness is the most defining characteristic.
I'm going in with a bit on the rind as well, where there's some different flavors going on.
The bit just inside the rind is completely transformed.
Yeah.
Much more earthy, celery, savoury.
Savoury, definitely, yeah.
Less acidic. If you didn't know you were tasting the same cheese, you'd think it was a completely different cheese.
Definitely, yeah. Like that.
When you get to know a cheese really well, you can often find that you have your favourite distance from the rind. So, right in the centre when you've still got a lot of milk acid, and right at the edge when you've got umami savoury, you kind of go,
yeah, you know where you want to be.
An inch in.
Do you need to take your place in the queue for the cheese board very seriously?
It gets me onto my favourite hobby horse about people cutting the rinds off cheeses and not trying them. Just missing so much.
Illegal move.
I think.
We did a cheese pairings recently for one of our clients, and the instructions in the box was you must eat this with the cheese, with the rind, with the rest of the cheese. You must cut it as a wedge and eat all of it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right then, scores. What are you going to mark it for?
It's so fascinating. I've gone back to the center of the cheese, and the acidity has just risen so much. I mean, not risen; it was there, but and it is really transformative. And I almost want, I do want like an inch in. Having said an inch, I'd like an inch in. You want to bring the acid down and bring the savoury up, but still have that characteristic Cheshire character. Interesting.
Lots going on.
This is a good cheese.
And this is the most complex of the four.
So let's see if we can name some of that complexity. So I do think we're getting that bitterness is present again for me, that hoppy bitterness. I do think there's grassiness, sort of new grass, spring grass, but probably this is what this is actually, spring grass.
There's dairy flavours there still as well.
Mm-hmm. Can we go beyond that? Is there more than that?
Mm. It's away from, it's not out and out butteriness. It's more into sort of milk and cream.
Yeah. I think for all its firmness and developed rind, it's sort of it's coming across as slightly younger in the paste.
Yeah.
I mean, or is tasting younger. Are you getting any faults across this cheese?
No, I'm not. No, I can't see him to take away.
It feels more agricultural to me.
Yeah,
There's a bit more sort of farmyard, a bit more tractor, a bit more sort of hill.
yeah. I think that's those flavours that are coming through from the rind in particular. Now,
The scores then. Is this
It's
going
got
to
good
give you
length, you
two?
know. Sorry to interrupt, Danielle. It's got good
Sorry.
length. I'm sitting here. I'm liking the lingering
yeah,
flavors.
just gently there, isn't it?
Mm.
Hmm.
I think I need to retaste these to know which ones I like most. But I think this one's done age best.
I think I'd like to go back and just try the rind on the others as well, just for a bit of comparison.
Well, should we knock out the scores on this one, Stephen, before we
Yeah, I
go?
feel like first. Yeah.
So, appearance then.
It's a good looker. All of them have been good lookers, so this is great. Yeah, I reckon we can go the full 9.25, don't you?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, that matches your recent highest score on this one.
Uh-huh. Aroma. I don't really want to say it's slightly more muted, so there's less to be had, but the rind is stronger.
Yeah. Yeah. And the rind has got that very distinctive
Mm.
aroma to it.
9.5.
Yeah, I would say so.
Texture.
Ooh. I like it. I like that. For me, the way that it crumbles, but that firmness is there as well.
It's hard and then crumbles.
Hard and then crumbly.
Okay.
I think that I would score that quite highly for me.
9.
9.25, 9.5.
9.375.
Okay.
That's 9 and 3/8.
Yeah, that'll do.
9.5, and that was your second cheese, is the highest score you've given to texture.
I think we should stop being silly. I think 9.5 sounds fine to me.
Yeah, 9.5.
And flavour.
I like the complexity of it.
I like the length.
Yeah.
I think it's got good balance. It's acidic, but not too acidic. So
It's ticking lots of boxes for me, and I can imagine it would be quite wide.
Of the 4, this is the one I would keep.
Me too. Yeah.
So I think we're sort of 9.25, 9.5.
Yeah.
Go on. Which
I
one?
got 9.3. I got 9.75.
Would you? Oh, that's so close to a win. I mean, 9.5.
I mean, just saying, a 10 has been delivered at another session this morning already. You can
Oh,
go
really?
again.
Well, whatever. Nine and a half, Stephen.
9.5. Yeah, nine. Let's go 9.5 then.
Which,
Okay,
in my estimation, puts it in first place.
it does with a score of 42.5.
Mm. This is very good class. Excellent cheeses. Really
Yeah,
excellent
It's
cheeses.
tough, isn't
good
it?
cheese. But yeah, happy with that one as the best in class.
I think I am. I'm still just eating it for fun. So yeah.
It's always a good sign, isn't it? When you go back to it and back to it.
Yeah, I do think so. I mean, as I said, there is that thing, like I'm really preferring the bit near the rind. The sort of first inch and a half, 2 inches.
Yeah, it's good.
Right, it's delicious.
So to say we came out of the starting blocks with a really strong 39.75 cheese,
Yeah,
you've then gone on to beat it, had a
twice.
slight dip down, and then fourth and final cheese blew it.
Yeah, that's really good news. Cheshire is such an interesting cheese, and it's not appreciated enough.
I don't think it is either. I think people have an association with mass-produced supermarket Cheshire because it was very prevalent in the 70s and 80s.
I think that's true, but also it has this tendency to bitterness, which is legitimate, but not necessarily appealing. And it doesn't have high levels of sweetness, and it doesn't have high levels of umami, and it does have high levels of acidity. So it's not doing itself any favors in its natural state, if you see what I mean. And it doesn't tend to high complexity either. I think you've got to enjoy that real natural element of sort of the low dairy flavors, but really honest and that sort of feeling that it's been made on a farm where the wind howls and
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I think
lovely.
honest is good. I think it's a very, as a style, I think it's a very honest cheese style. I agree with you on that.
Humble,
Underrated.
humble cheese.
Doesn't,
category.
yeah. I'd like
Okay,
people to
well,
eat more, but I understand why they don't.
that concludes our judging of the Cheshire category there with a clear winner 1076 with a score of 42.5. Thank you very much, judges.
I'm
Thank you.
interrupting you again, Daniel, because
Go
I do
on.
that. But Sarah did say we could send 2 through if we wanted
Oh,
to.
okay.
So I'm just going to ask Stephen a question. Would you send a second one through?
I'm just going to go back and have another bit of that second one.
So there's just shy of 2 points in it. Cheese number, what are we on here?
1008.
Yeah, with the annatto.
So that's got 40.335. 1008.
Yeah, do you know what? I just had another bit of that one, and
Bloody good.
it's bloody good. Subtly different to the fourth one, but yeah. Let's put the cat amongst the pigeons and send them both through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
Our
weight
first
it towards
category,
Cheshire.
and we're already wielding our power around and sending 2 cheeses.
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. It is bloody good. I mean, I'm just like you done. I mean, it's really, really good. Right. And I'm beginning to wonder giving it an 8 on flavor was us being well, I leant down with that one, but it's like maybe we should go up a bit, but never mind. It's going through.
We'll let the next judges work it out.
All right.
Okay. So change of plan. We've got a clear winner 1076, but also we're sending through 1008 because we love them both. That has been the Cheshire Riser Virtual Cheese Awards 2025 category, judged by 2 brilliant judges, Stephen and Charlie. Thank you very much. Thank you also to Butler's Farmhouse Cheeses for sponsoring our aprons, and also Miller's for the providing the crackers. So those 2 cheeses are going through to the category finals on the 10th of June. And don't forget the day after, on the 11th of June, we've got the Supreme Champion will be announced as well. Thank you very much, judges. That concludes that session.